Anyway, more schools across the country are switching to a 4-day week, hoping to cut down on costs like transportation and heating. Now, your kids, they might love the idea of only 4 days of school in a week, but do longer days and shorter weeks really benefit them as students in a very competitive country and world? Here to debate are two former educators, education policy researcher for the Heritage Foundation, Mary Claire Rime, and psychotherapist Nell Gibbon-Daly. Thank you both for joining us this morning. Mary, I'm going to start with you. Tell me why you think this is a bad idea.
Oh, I don't necessarily think it's a bad idea. I think it's interesting to see some school districts break outside of the traditional schooling model that we've had since the time of the one-room schoolhouse. We've been educating our kids the exact same way for 100 years. And while some parents, this may not work for their family, some parents might appreciate the flexibility in their schedule. They might like to have 1 day a week to schedule their kids' doctor's appointments or soccer practice. And this is exactly what federalism's all about, different states trying out different things and seeing what works.
Okay. Nell, what are your thoughts initially to this idea that we'd shorten the work week to save costs? What does it do for the student?
Well, I think she makes an interesting point. This is taking place a lot in rural communities across America. I think if we instituted the policy in more urban centers, it would be a lot harder for families who may struggle to find care for their children, which leaves those children on those days without perhaps activities, extracurricular things to do. There's sometimes in these communities there's not a lot of community structure and involvement, and that can really hinder a child's ability to learn outside that school day.
Okay, but I think a lot of parents and others back home are thinking, okay, we spend so much money on education in this country. Our achievement is falling behind the rest of the world. Places like, China and elsewhere, their kids are in school more days a week for more hours with more rigorous education. What does this do to helping America remain competitive in a global workplace?
I think that's a great question. They haven't seen that it's actually dropped the numbers of children doing well in school. Like the academic standards have stayed the same. But again, these studies are relatively new, so long term, we're not really quite sure what the outcome is going to be.
Okay, Mary, I want to go to you. So it just strikes me as slightly counterintuitive that less time in the classroom is going to produce better results for kids. I know it's not a one-for-one always, but couldn't you see the takeaway that, wow, just like France going to a 4-day work week, we're going to send our kids to school only 4 days? How does that make us more competitive?
Well, I think that with any sweeping change to the public education system, we need to take it slowly, and we need to make sure that this is working, that families have an option when they're looking at this. So I think we should always couple sweeping reforms with expansive school choice options so that when parents and families move to a school district, they can look at a school that operates 4 days a week, and they can look at a school that operates 5 days a week, and then they can make a decision based on what's best for their family, and then those two schools are competing for that child. So if we put some innovation, choice, and competition into our school system, I think we'll have some really great results.
Well, I think that's a great way to end it. Mary Claire Rime and Nell Gibbon-Daly, thank you both. Kids watching right now are rejoicing because they just saw two education experts say they might be going to school for 4 days a week.
Exactly.
Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.